Hello there, I'm Narrowbacks. Welcome back to the final part of our Williams speedrun for Season 5. We probably will be doing something next season due to the massive regulation change. But we will be continuing here. We'll be going forward towards the French Grand Prix. And we'll be finishing this season. And then hopefully, we'll see if the next update is out. But we'll be focusing on next update once it comes out. But I will be doing a Season 6 just because of the regulation change, and maybe we give Prix a go. I'm still not completely decided on that. I kind of like the team we have. Feel like I would be betraying Duan if I chuck him out, so we'll see what we do there. But for the time being, that's the plan. And let's proceed here with the final half of the season. As I said, we're going to continue towards the French Grand Prix. But before that, you can see that we have a new regulation vote. We also have points to invest in both Piastri and Duan. So let's get that out of the way. Let's get Piastri's control up. Let's get Duan's cornering up. And what I am thinking here is I'm a bit unsure if I want to, switch them out. One of the reasons why I think Duan is lacking in points to some degree is because of how things have gone. But I think we might change out towards the end of the season here. Like, we'll give Prix has an extra year. So once this season ends, we can just give him a new contract, buff him up to D2 if we want to. It's gonna be sad to, if we let Duan go. But yeah, I don't know. We still have plenty of time left to consider it, so I think what we're going to do here is give Piastri a new contract. Because, well, he should probably have gotten one ages ago when he became Drivers' Champion. The thing is, both of these guys are Drivers' Champion, so we need to also keep that in mind. Now, with that said, let's go to the regulation change here. F1 Schools invitation, we will attend. Again, I don't know what this event really does. Doesn't seem to be anything other than flavor, really. So, let's not. We don't need the money. I don't think it gives anything in particular. Sporting changes for the season. Going back to the switching scoring systems again. This might need a little bit of a change here because it's starting to become a little bit too much. Also, no bonus points. This sort of scoring. With the change up also, with the drastic changes to regulation, this could actually end up being kind of interesting now that I think about it. That's something to keep in mind. We did a good Austrian Grand Prix last time out, which is good. But we're going to go ahead here and continue. Let's see what the regulation vote actually gave us here. It went through, so next season might be very, very interesting, or it might be very, very boring. This is like a 50-50, and I don't know which side is winning out. Performance targets, fastest lap should be doable. Qualifying position streak is not doable. And with that, I think we're off to the French Grand Prix. Let's go. French Grand Prix just met its natural conclusion. We had a good race, 1-2. Piastri started a little bit further up the grid due to penalties. I didn't actually realize. I thought he had a flying start when he didn't, which embarrassed me a bit, but just how things are. Ocon had a good race. He managed to latch onto us towards the end there, so he got a podium. Thanks to, well, he probably would have gotten it anyways, but he got a huge advantage of Leclerc thanks to the tow from mainly Duan. Piastri caught up. The only reason why Piastri won was because Duan's fuel usage was a bit too high, so he had to run more conservative towards the end. That's on me. But yeah. Magnussen started second, ended up fifth. Not the worst thing to happen to him. Gasly down in ninth. Aston Martin Zhou Guanyu in eighth. Verstappen in seventh, but yeah, it's currently things are looking kind of weird all around really in terms of the cars. There's a Drivers' Championship. A lot of changes there. Ocon up 3, Verstappen up 1, Russell up 1, Magnussen up 4 with that 5th place finish. So yeah, a lot of changes here really. Constructors, one change really. Alfa Romeo up 2. AlphaTauri down 2. So what I assume happened here is that Alfa Romeo and AlphaTauri switched places, and Aston Martin has just stayed put. let's continue here and see how we did on the driver development. Pretty good, all things considered. And again, I'm a bit unsure what we want to do with doing, but guess how things are. Decent income gain as well, 5.2 million. And with that, we have now the underfloor research project completed, as well as extra points here. Put in accuracy for Piastri, and to put in braking for Dune. Now, we have an upcoming board review, but I don't think the board will complain. In terms of the underfloor, it's starting to get up there, but we still need to work on it, because, of course, we have pretty bad regulations coming up. We're still poised to lose 30% of our expertise, and we're almost at 80%. So, we're going to have to put in work here. It's basically 5% across the board, extra gain. So, let's get that in there. It'll be done in October, which will mean that we might have time for one more underfloor once this one's done. So, we are going to be losing a lot of expertise. It's just how things are. Can't cover every part, and you're limited on how much you can cover. Congratulations for the race. Giovinazzi, Albon, Stroll. Yeah, we're just going to keep on scouting everyone, because I want to test something. We're going to refurbish our weather center. We want that that extra gain in predictability, I guess. We can guarantee a 1 of our drivers in the top 2. We should probably try 2, but again, let's just do it passively here. We already have a lot of money, so we don't need to really focus on it. With that, let's go off to Hungary. Hungarian GP just finished. We finished 1-2, as you can see. Started a little bit up the ranks due to penalties. 1 place each, 18th, 19th. Leclerc came in 3rd. Fought Magnussen for a lot of the last of the race, but Alfa Romeo with a 4th and a 7th place. They had to be very happy about that. Charles the only Ferrari in the points. Sainz is 13th. Verstappen the only Red Bull in the points at 6th. The other one is Norris, who's further down. Ocon and Mercedes, well, Russell had a decent one, and both Haas is in the points here. But Alfa Romeo is starting to show that they can actually be a contender, which is interesting. In terms of driver championship here, no changes. Really? Nothing. Constructors had nothing either, so still an interesting one. We'll have to see if Haas can have some more good results here, and maybe catch up to AlphaTauri and Aston Martin. But Alpha is catching up to McLaren, so could be interesting end to the season in that regard as well. Let us continue here, see how driver development did. Very good. We both had Piastri and Doohan in a bit of a DRS train, and they kept on overtaking each other, so that helped out a bit. Standard gain at this point, 5.2 million. And, well, things are starting to become quite routine. So, mid-season board review, they have assessed our performance, and we have done well. We're on target for both of our targets, really, and we have been giving the commemoratory 1.5 million as a bonus. Chassis research has been completed. We'll have to see what we want to research instead. But first, put in points here. Control for Piastri. And for doing, we're going to put it into reactions. I know that a lot of people are concerned about my disregard for smoothness here. But I can understand if you are struggling. If you are the 3rd best team, 4th best team, or you are a team that is struggling to get in points. Being able to do different strategies with smoothness is important. I'm not completely disregarding it. But once you get to the top, your smoothness become less important, because the thing that matters then is your race pace. Our car is one thing, but the fact that our drivers have such a good race pace because of their pace stats, because of their consistency, is another. So that is why I'm disregarding that, and that is also why I'm disregarding these 3 down here. Because our car is so good, and our drivers have such a good race pace, these would be nice, but they're not necessary, which is why I am focusing on these, so that we can avoid accidents, so that we can keep race pace, and generally just get ourselves to the front, stay there, and, you know, just ignore smoothness once we get there, because we have enough speed to do an extra set of pit stops if we need to. Of course, we do have a weakness on one-stop races, but again, it's just my opinion that the weakness that we have on one-stop races is worth the advantage that we gain on every race by having better pace stats. So that's my thought process. It's, again, it's fine to disagree. It's basically how it is. But that's why I believe smoothness and the racecraft stats here do not be as important as pace particularly, but also consistency and accuracy. Because even if you have these really high, your drivers will still lock up. Your drivers will still crash. It'll just be a little bit less. But if you have pace to stay out front, your lockups, your spins, they don't actually have a consequence for the most part, unless of course you hit the wall. You'll be able to get back on track in the same position. You'll just have lost a little bit of time that you can easily regain. But this does of course also require you to have a good car. So basically the reason why I'm focusing pace and consistency at the top two is due to us having that great car that can stay out ahead and then ignore smoothness, ignore these other three stats. We can generally live happily ever after. I know it's a bad explanation, potentially a bad justification, but just how I see things. Now, if we do put Prix in, we could get a better position there for, you know, our driver. I'm also tempted to test him because, as we've seen so far, Piastri has a lower overtaking stat, but he does overtakes better than Doohan, and he's middle aggression. So it could seem that a high aggression with a lower overtaking stat is actually negative, but I'm wondering if low aggression with a high overtaking stat is beneficial or not, because if the aggression stat is that important that straight up overrules the overtaking stat, then well, there are other things to consider then. But yeah, let's get our chassis research done here. Sorry for going off on a tangent there. I just felt like I needed to explain that because there's been a lot of comments asking about that particular thing. My why I do the things that I do, really. Let's get a research on suspensions. Again, we're going to focus everything really, and once again we're going to focus everything but cooling. And I'm very curious to see just how does our car stack up against the other teams next season, because as you can see, we are going to be losing a lot of expertise, and not really a lot we can do about it. Now, we could focus certain stats to, you know, try and survive, but I'm just going to try and get decent stat across the boards. Across the board. Mark Rollins, up-and-coming driver. Sorry, I don't think so. Congratulations for Hungary. Let's go. We have Belgium. We're at the summer break, actually, which is good for my rant. And we have researched the front wing. And the big question now is, do I want to do another front wing right away? Or do I want to wait until I get the ATR period again, which will be in 26 days? I'm actually a bit uncertain on that. If we do this, we'll still have decent gains, but like, of course they'll be smaller than if we put in the ATR. But I think we'll have one more period that we can play with, 56 days. We'll do this and then we'll consider it later, really. I don't have any other choice on the matter because we need to focus everything, get it back up, because we're losing just so much expertise from the upgrades. Sorry, from the regulation change. Might be a bit stressed here because I guess subconsciously I want to get this wrapped up before the 1.7 update, but yeah, I need to just slow down a bit. Sorry about that. We also have development point for our staff here, with one in high-speed downforce, maybe one in airflow sensitivity. That's dirty air. Airflow management, let's go with that one. And we'll try and boost everything a little bit equally. Technical chief does not have extra points, sadly, but that's just fine. Race engineer does, get him up to 97. Our other race engineer does too, boost him as well. Like Diego 82, very nice to see. And yeah, we're doing well either, so. Now, we have a helipad here in poor condition. We could skip out on refurbishing this, but we have enough money, so we shouldn't. skip out. We don't need to. Performance targets. Let's see here. Fastest lap should be doable. And with that, we're off to Belgium. The Belgian Grand Prix just finished. We had not the best of our races here. Luhan 4th position, best we could do. Piastri luckily crashed out at, well, 4 laps before the end. Locked up, hit the wall, and ended up out. Norris got taken out by Verstappen. Bottas got taken out by Schumacher. And in general, this race was kind of mayhem due to it being a, well, wet race in the middle. Luhan still did well though, getting up to 4th position. Verstappen did well, making up 10 positions and a crash. Sainz won, which is good for them. For Ferrari, Leclerc in 13th is disappointing though. Gasly made it up to the podium with Magnussen. So again, good performance from these two. Aston got the points, Mercedes, Russell got the points, McLaren got some points, and once again both Haas is in the points, so I don't even know what's going on anymore with this championship in all honesty. In terms of driver championship, we have some changes. Sainz makes up to 3rd, Gasly makes up 2 spots up to 6th, past both Mercedes drivers, and Magnussen now with his podium is up into 10th place overall. So, bit of an interesting one. In terms of constructors, no changes really. Ferrari is pulling away from the others with that victory. And Alfa Romeo now has overtaken Mercedes, kind of showing that they do have something to go on here. They deserve to be here. Now, this is also the first race this season that we didn't win or have anyone on the podium. That's a bit disappointing from our end, but that's just how it is. In terms of development, we did not great because of Piastri's crash. Luhan did okay, didn't have too much going on because of the rain. And we remember that push air exists. We made a little bit less money due to, you know, us not having anyone on the podium. And that's just how things be, really. We have finished our research on the suspension, which is good. And as you can see, a lot of the scouting has been completed. So I'll be setting up that again. But what we're interested here in is setting up new research, really. So let's get the airflow for front and middle up. Again, it's a 5% boost, but we're losing a lot here. It's a 70% loss in all of these stats, so getting somewhat back should be a priority, but it's still going to be difficult. We're probably going to have to do 1 or 2 extra researches on the side pods, and I'll have to make some decisions with the ATR time if it's worth, say, putting it into side pods to just catch up. But that's just how things are. I'm quickly gonna get the scouting done and then we can continue. Scouting has been handled, and excuse me, as you can see, we have a new race in 4 days, which includes a rear wing upgrade completion, or rather research. Helipad has been refurbished, which is good. And let's see here how the rear wing now looks with the research completed. Race prep, we'll get that done, but first let's get the research on the way so I don't forget. I do have a bad habit there. So currently we're regaining 10%, well 11.6% of our loss, that is almost 40%, which is good, but we still have more to really regain here. Still gonna be a harsh loss, don't get me wrong. And we'll have ATR in 3 days, but where do I want to put that ATR? I think we'll save it for now, and we'll just make a consideration. Probably just the underfloor again. But again, it's kind of a hard one to decide on, in all honesty. 1 drive in the top 2 should be doable. Hopefully, we failed last time. But I think we hopefully can do better here during the Dutch Grand Prix. Let's see how it goes. We just finished our Grand Prix here. As you can see, we managed to 1-2. Was a wet afternoon though, so it was kind of rocky at times, but we pulled it off. Magnussen, 3rd place. The Alpha looks really scary at the moment. Gasly also did a very good race, 4th place for Alpine. Verstappen 5th, Russell 6th, Perez 7th, Sainz 8th, Ricciardo 9th, and Norris 10th. Mercedes and Ferrari, and Schumacher for that matter, because Alpha's has at least 1 rocket ship, had kind of a bad day, but that's just how things are. In terms of drivers, we had a good result here too. Well, we had a good result. Everything is good for our team. But Verstappen went up to 3rd, Gasly up to 5th, Russell up to 7th. So, gonna be interesting to see how Gasly does if he can't climb further up than 5th. It's also going to be interesting to see how Magnussen does, currently 10th. But he's had some good results now. Let's see if it continues. Constructors, no change, so let us see how development went. Did alright considering that this was a wet race without much overtaking. Still a decent amount of points. Everyone gained a development point, which is good. We made extra money due to our finish position streak. 1.5 million extra there. And yeah, pretty good result altogether. Now let us distribute these points first. We're going to put one in accuracy for Piastri. Going to put one in cornering for Duan. I kind of want to try and make a pace monster and release him to another team and see if he... It's actually a good thing to test too in Season 6. We're actually going to let Duan go, I think. Just because we want to create a... Piastri is, you know, our main player right now. I think we're going to let Duan go as a set off this season and just see if another team picks him up and just see how well Duan can do there. Like, he lacks smoothness, but he's starting to get there in pace stats. I want to see just how well another team could use him, really. For Porsche, point in control, point in accuracy. Pretty good. And let us see here now. We have a new ATR period. We're going to wait for the one of the big three, I think. Side of that, or we put it in suspension, maybe. But it's a bit of a difficult choice, I feel. Board check-in. The board is happy with this. Good to see. Honestly, the financials isn't something that we really have focused on because the balance is just going upwards. We have a projected income of 300 million and outgoings of 190. So we should be making a decent amount of money here. Really. A lot of money. This does not take into account the money that we had before the season, so this is added to what we started with. And other than that, I think we're good. Development report for our car. We are back into having both cars at 19 for cooling, which is to be expected. Still first though, and would like to stay there next year if possible. I just bit my tongue, sorry about that. Performance targets for our next race. Let's have a quick look. Fastest lap for the race session should be doable. And with that, I think we are ready to go. Let's go to the Italian Grand Prix. Just finished the race in Monza. As you can see, Piastri won. Duan came in 3rd. We ended up getting Sainz at toe for probably a bit too many laps there, which screwed Duan over. 2 was probably also a bit too generous, really, but still a good result for the team. Ferrari had a great result to 2nd and 4th. Red Bull in 5th, Mercedes 6th. Magnussen had a pretty bad race, ended up in 7th, lost 6 positions. Gasly in 8th, Ricciardo in 9th, and Schumacher scoring points. So, good race all things considered. Norris is still struggling a bit in his Red Bull. Ocon is struggling more in his Red Bull. But in general, it's basically what's expected at this stage. Drivers' Championship, both Ferrari drivers move up a point a place, and Verstappen goes down to 4th, Gasly to 6th. Constructors, we have no change. Let's see how our drivers developed. So as you can see, it went pretty well. Sorry about that. 1,400 points for both, which is good. And Porsche got a decent amount as well. 5 million in the bank is also pretty good. And we have some new regulations coming in here. Financial changes, cost cap, we are going to vote against, but I have a feeling it might be pushed through here. And good result from the board, basically, giving us congratulations on our efforts. Weather center refurbished, good to see. We will continue here and see if that cost gap is finally going to get lowered or not. Oh, it did not. Only Alpine and Haas were the pull. The rest of us said no. So we're actually running that low on both chassis and front wings. So let us go ahead and fix that. We're going to go warehouse, front wing, and we are going to make 3 more of these because we aren't going to be making any more parts this season. And let's make 1 chassis. It doesn't hurt. 75,000. It's not a lot of money for us, that is. Hospitality area in poor condition. We will refurbish it. Because if the cost cap increases and we spend more on facilities, we might actually start hitting the cost cap quite regularly at the end of seasons. Scouting has been completed. Again, it's for my project. I'm going to refurbish the boardroom. And in general here, we're currently scouting average 60 drivers. I'm going to be doing some 50 drivers, and then we'll see how my little driver skill test goes. Be right back. Scouting has been put in action. We have a point here for doing. I'm going to put it into braking. And as I said, we are probably going to get What? Help. We're probably going to let him go at the end of the season and promote per share. And I hope another team picks him up because I'm interested to see just how he's going to do against his teammate based with these stats here. And that's basically what I'm very curious about. But also help give some ideas if, you know, my belief is correct or not. Chassis has been manufactured. Good. Race prep for Singapore. We will get that going. And what we could also do as a fun challenge, maybe in a later save, is to try and make a race a female driver, if you will. Or any other prospect for that matter. Let's see how that goes. We do want to guarantee fastest lap. With that, I think we're ready for Singapore. Let's go. Race in Singapore, just finished. As you can see, we did a 1-2. Piastri actually overtook Russell on the final lap for that second place, so kind of an interesting race, all things considered, but you ended well, very well. Russell 3rd, Ocon 6th, good race for Mercedes. Verstappen 4th, Norris 7th, decent from Red Bull. Leclerc in 5th for Ferrari. It's good because Sainz crashed out, so it's an okay result, not great, not terrible. Gasly, Bottas and Magnussen ran out the points. Kind of disappointed to see Magnussen down into 10th here because he had a few good races here, but hopefully it wasn't a flash. We'll have to see though. In terms of drivers, Verstappen up to 3rd, Sainz down to 4th, Russell up to 6th, Gasly down to 7th, and in constructors we have no real changes. In terms of development, we have not the best race really. Kind of hard to overtake at this location, which leads to, of course, fewer points, but it's still good, don't get me wrong. Still a pretty good race. And money-wise, we also made a decent chunk here. Can't complain. Front wing manufacturing completed. Good to see. And Piastri, we're going to give a point of control here, which brings him out to 86. Starting to reach the proper high numbers here. Congrats us for Singapore, which is how it usually goes. We actually have 2 research coming up here. Front wing is 1. And we are going to research another front wing. I think we could split our focus here. We have 3 front wing research projects completed, but it is what will give us the best boost. Is it just focusing on the front wing? Is it focusing on something else? Because what I'm thinking is we can use Intense next season to catch up on the other pieces. But it's just so expensive to do that using something else really. So I guess we are going to be researching the front wing here. It's still not a massive boost. I want to use aerodynamic on the underfloor again. So we're going to do that. And again, it's about a... Well, it's not even that for this. It's a 3% boost in these two, a 4% boost here, and a, well, a half a percentage point benefit for cooling. 3% for both airflow, so we're starting to get to the point where we're going to suffer. But let's be honest here. These are the gains that we've gained over 5 seasons. We haven't had any huge regulations, so someone resetting the board is probably needed, let's be honest. So even if we can't get everything back, if we can gain a decent amount of it back, we'll be fairly happy about the situation. Sideboard research has completed. Board is happy with me. Car development report. Cooling is once again a weird one, so someone has done some shenanigans. Next is Japanese Grand Prix. And of course we also have the sideboard research just completed. And we'll do a quick chassis here because I'm trying to do balanced. Might not be the best way of doing things, all things considered, but it's just how we've decided to do things here. And as you can see, it's barely a 3% here, barely 4% here, so we aren't gaining much, but everything we gain will be, well, important to have gained. Now, both our drivers' contracts end soon. We will actually be renewing Oscar's contract, but I am a little bit uncertain what kind of contract he wants, so we can't do that now anyways. We'll have to wait for the race weekend to end. So basically, once the races have been done, we can go ahead and renew his contract if we want to. In terms of the race performance, we're going to have one driver in the top 2, which should be doable. And just going to have a quick look here on the research project. So we'll have a new underfloor in a week. And again, we're going to slap on a... mile hours, wind tunnel hours on that project later on. And I just think we should prioritize the underfloor with the extreme hits that we're currently getting. So yeah, let's head off to Japan and see how that race goes. We have just finished our Japanese Grand Prix. Piastri came first, had a pretty good race. Doing down in 6th is due to him crashing out, destroying his front wing and getting minor damage to chassis, requiring him to do an extra pit stop, which of course caused some problems for his race. Ferrari had a great showing, 2nd and 4th. Mercedes came in 3rd. We have Magnussen for Alpha in 5th, good for them. And Red Bull just had a terrible day altogether. Norris in 8th, Verstappen in 12th. And Perez, Albon, and Gasly are the point scores for McLaren, AlphaTauri, and Alpine, which rounds out the table. In terms of the changes in drivers, we have Sainz moving up to 3rd, with that 3rd place, gaining a huge advantage on Verstappen, and Perez moving up to 12th, just 1 point above Show. Constructors, no real change here as you can see, which isn't too surprising. It's been very stable for a long time. In terms of our driver development, we'll have a look. As you can see, decent gains, but could have been better, of course, just how things are. And money-wise, we made a little bit extra money, but we still gain a lot from... Okay, so that is the contract expiring. I was thinking it was something else. But never mind that. We are going to be, you know, getting a new contract here for Piastri. I think we are going to let Doohan go, as I said. Just to make things a little bit more exciting, but also because Prussia has gained enough points now where he warrants a chance at least. So we're going to upgrade his accuracy and control. And we're going to do the same that we've been doing with all our drivers here. He just already has the smoothness. So it could also allow us to do some other interesting strategies. So again, we're going to promote Porsche. And we're going to probably pick up a Nugent as a regen driver. Oh, sorry, reserve driver. Accuracy up for Piastri. What we're doing, we're going to put points into reactions. Again, we're going to let him go. But we want to make what I consider the best stat-wise driver to hopefully have an AI team pick up and just see if he overperforms for that team. So with that, we are going to be, you know, negotiating contract here with Piastri, which could be difficult because you don't really have a good idea what they want. And that is, of course, a big concern. So car 1, salary, let's give up this to... Let's try 15 million first. Or we could try 10. He has very high. Let's go with 10. Give him $1 million in... let's be generous. Let's give him 2 million in, you know, lump sum. Because we have a lot of money. So it's not really generous. It's still pocket change. But you get my idea. You get 20% sign-on bonus to your salary. And we'll avoid race target bonuses because they get expensive really quickly. And we don't really need them. I'd rather pay an extra 10 million a season than give $1 million for first place. Let's try this and see how Piastri feels. Not happy with the salary here. Isn't high enough. We're gonna buff this up to 15 because I believe Verstappen has 24, 25 therein. And with an 86, I would assume he maybe wants something around the 20 million mark. Maybe a little bit less, but let's try 15 first and see how he feels about this. We do have high patience to work with. Isn't high enough. Okay, let's bump him up to 20. Again, this isn't really... It's an extra 20 million a season. Let's consider the fact that Piastri is currently paid a measly 450,000 a season. So this is going to be very costly for us, all things considered, but we can handle it. Okay, he's indifferent to his salary now. It's acceptable. So we are going to renew the contract. We're going to pay him 2 million. He's going to get a 20 million salary now over 5 seasons. Well, a year. So 100 million contract, really. But yeah, with that, we have renewed Piastri. And as I said, I want to promote Porsche to, doing spot. So we'll not be renegotiating his contract now. We'll be doing it once Doohan leaves because his contract ran out. And I think that should be okay. Now, it might be, again, a bit disloyal of me. But I think it would be interesting to see how the AI handles it. I also had a suggestion to let both of these guys go. But I think I'm just going to let one go. It could be very interesting to see, again, how both of them do. Because, again, I've raised them as I see the best at investment. So could be very interesting, but again, we'll let one of them go, I think. Japanese Grand Prix, again, congratulations for our performance, which is good to see. Our underflow research has completed, and the contract renewal has happened. It's good. And we do need to manufacture a new chassis because Doohan did demolish one during that last race. It's minor damage, but we just tossed the whole thing out. Underfloor research has been completed, and currently we're looking at a 26% loss in expertise. And this is going to be sucky for my math. About a 20% loss here, I think. 40% minus 13.5. Okay, even more than that. Let's borrow this one. It's about a 36% loss. Sorry, 26% loss here. So I assume it's the same for these two. Airflow is going to hurt a lot as well. So we are going to be trying to see how beneficial would it be to put in all of our aerodynamic testing into this underfloor and try and get it, get some of our expertise back so we don't lose too much. So we're getting about 8% here. Now remember, these numbers will be lower simply due to the fact that we're going to be putting engineers on this. But the total gain per day will be higher, so we could be cheeky here and try and, extend it, put one engineer on it. But as you can see, we might not even make it if we put all of our engineers on it, just barely in time. So we're going to do this. Again, I still think that it's good. We're going to get another 7% in saved in drag reduction, meaning that we'll lose 20. Same here, we'll lose half of our expected loss. But it's still 20% loss all around on the underfloor, and that's gonna suck for next season's car. But again, this is something that hits everyone. If we focus on underfloor here, we should be able to come out on top, which is the hope. And with that, we should be good. Wardroom has been refurbished, and we have another one coming up, which is the race sim has also been refurbished. Good. Let's continue to the next race, which should be the United States one, if I remember correctly, Coda. And we have chassis manufactured, which means we're good. Let us set performance targets here. Fastest lap should be doable. And with that, we're off to Coda. The race of Coda just finished, and as you can see, 1-2. Doing with the victory, Piastri second. Mercedes had a decent race here with 3rd and 6th place. Magnussen is starting to come back here. 4th place performance from him and Alpha. Ferrari won't be too happy. 5th and 13th place. In terms of Red Bulls, they had also a really bad day, 7th and 11th. McLaren and Alpine will be happy though, 8th, 9th, and 10th. Pretty good result for them, all things considered. Just a driver championship, we only have one change. Russell moves up past Charles Leclerc. And in terms of the constructors, we have no changes, so yeah. Things have been stable for a while. It seems like they might maintain so. Well, continue to be so, not maintain so. But as you can see, Mercedes is now just 1 point behind Red Bull. So they will probably be able to catch up and overtake Red Bull within the last 3 races here. Now, when it comes to development, we had a decently good race. We had both our drivers out front, and they were overtaking each other over and over and over again for extra point, which is really good. And Porsche did not get forgotten. Money-wise, we make the same as we usually do, 5.2, because we don't really take any extra, you know, objectives. And our inbox here tells us that we have points to use on our staff. So underfloor has been made really focused on. We're going to do the same for the rear wing, and then we're going to do the same for front wing. And then I think suspension, and I don't know which one we want to do of chassis or side pods. But we'll consider it when we get there. Let's get airflow management up. And that brings the bear to 87. And again, I'm a little bit unsure which one of these are the most effective ones, but airflow sensitivity is generally just for dirty aircon ring. Cooling is self-explanatory. And in general here, I think all these are good. Drag reduction and airflow management, mainly for speed, but also in terms of airflow, a little bit for cornering. Engineers do not have any points, sadly, but that's okay. And staff congratulates us on a race well done. Unless we're getting some more scouts through here. But yeah, I am scouting everyone just mainly to do the test, as I said. Test driver stats. How much do they really matter? Now, in terms of new gens, we haven't actually gotten anyone now, but I'm thinking that we will for next season, since we are promoting Porsche. Pick up a age 18 new gen and see if we can race a superstar, if you will. Newman here could potentially have done pretty well, but he's 19, and we're going to try and see if we can get an 18-year-old. If there is not an 18-year-old up and running by... that sounds so wrong, sorry. If there's not one up and running by the end of the season, we'll sign someone on basically a 1-year contract. And this sounds really, really mean, basically a throwaway. So we can put someone else in that seat once we, you know, get a better option, if you will. We're gonna one driver in the top 2, what we're gonna guarantee here. And with that, I guess we're ready for the Mexican Grand Prix. Let's go. The Mexican Grand Prix ended in tears for our team, if you will. As you can see, we are not in top 10. That's because both cars are out. And both cars picked up a penalty. So what happened first, Duan had a little bit of a spin. Barely touched Piastri, but it caused damage to, well, Duan's tires, Piastri's front wing. And then a couple laps later, well, a few laps later, Piastri locked up into the back of Duan and sent them both out of the race. Completely. And probably demolished a lot of their cars as well, which we'll have a look at once we get through this screen. Now, in terms of driver championship, Leclerc moves up a point. Well, I should go through results first, not just my lament, sorry. Good race for Ferrari, first and 7th, with the dust being out. Magnussen had potential for victory here, but sadly he lost it during the last, I think, 6 or 7 laps, so that sucks. Verstappen did a good race. Once the safety car was back in after our crash, he managed to climb up into first, but couldn't maintain it until the end of the race. The Alpines had a good race here, 4th and 6th, Mercedes in 5th, Russell in 12th. Acceptable, but not great. And AlphaTauris, both of them in the points, Valtteri scoring points for McLaren. And yeah, a good race. We also still managed to snatch fastest lap though, even though we were sent out at, as you can see, lap 56. In terms of driver championship, Leclerc up ahead of Russell, Magnussen ahead of Norris, and Ricciardo moves up to 13th, and, well, there's an Alexander Albon here, making his way up past Schumacher. Constructors, we have no change really. Alpha could potentially cause some problem for Aston, but we'll have to see towards the end here how these last 2 races progress. Other than that, the only real, you know, challenge you can see here is Red Bull versus Mercedes. In terms of driver development, it's pretty bad, as you can see, due to, of course, our drivers crashing out. But it's just how it is. It's a disappointing performance from both, which isn't that surprising. Now, we did manage to finish position guarantee, which is, you know, understandable. It's just how things are. But for some reason, we got the finish position streak. I don't understand why. But if it's because both of us crashed out, then I'll take it, I guess. It's still a weird one. Railing has been researched, which is good. And the thing that I want to check here is we're going to go into the warehouse. Sorry, we're going to go into Power 1, powertrain. As you can see, he destroys the gearbox, but I believe we have one more. So, again, no big concern, but he's not out of gearboxes for this season. Engine took a bit of a beating. This was fairly fresh. And as you can see, it now is below where we want it to be. But I think we're going to take a new engine next race anyways. We'll just have to see how the cost cap looks in terms of that. But yeah, it's rough. Now, doing on the other side. This is his freshest engine. It was new for this weekend, and it's down to 56%. So yeah, a pretty bad weekend, all things considered. In terms of the other pieces, his ERS is gone. We need a new one. Can't do anything about that. His gearboxes are also now all shot, so he's going to need a new one of that too. So we can expect a lot of money being used on that, and cost cap wise, we are running close to the end here. We still need to do research, so we might end up breaching for cost cap this season too, just because of the damage to the car, if you will. Now, Mark Rollins, up-and-coming driver. Sorry, we're not going to invest. Railwing research completed. Do we want to put another project into the railwing? Or do we want to start focusing the other things a bit? Now, as you can see here, we're just 15% average, basically, in retainment. 14% really. So, we're still going to lose a massive amount of stats, but it's the question, do we want to instead try and get the side pods back up and running? Because these are going to suffer a lot. And honestly, I think we have done as much as we can for the railwing. We're going to have to try and focus a little bit more on, you know, the side pods. We can't allow these pieces to fall too far behind the others. It's just gonna make us suffer. Also, in terms of the timetable here, we'll have to see if we can get another research in. But I'm thinking we'd do this, get the side pods up as well. We can, of course, always just solely focus on, you know, designing them next season, but we still need to maintain some sort of balance here. We're also going to go ahead and refurbish the CFD tunnel. And we're also going to go ahead and put some points in for push air, control, accuracy, point in each. And he's starting to look really, really good here. Yes, he has a point as well. Goes into control. Dune has a point, which we'll put into cornering. We might just be able to finish him here with the pace stats before, you know, letting him go. We have a new ATR period. I should probably put that into the railwing now I think about it. How are we looking in terms of car parts development, current projects? We have a chassis coming in 3 days, and this is a rough choice now because we're gonna have to probably spend ATR period on. It won't be side pods because we will not have time to do that. We're gonna have to cancel the side pod project here. And what we could do is also... we can't edit it. Yeah, that's something I didn't consider. We're going to cancel it. It's going to be a waste of money, but that's just how things are. And either we go rear wing here, and we invest ATR period in that, or we put it all into, say, side pod or suspension. That's really what I'm thinking here. Now, this would benefit us a lot. But it's again the benefit of having a rear wing that is so far ahead of other pieces worth, you know, not investing into them. I say you should focus on inflating your wings, but at some point investing into the other 3 pieces will be more beneficial to you than investing into your underfloor and your wings, depending on how far behind they are. And we might be actually reaching that point here. But we can intend to sign next season to catch up on that, so I think we are going to sacrifice this. And we'll just have to use intense design. And we'll be able to just barely make it here. Let's do it. We're going to have to... I think we're going to have to. It's just how things are. The ATR period is just that valuable for research. Of course, we could have put it into the side pods. But the more stats on your piece, the more gain from using, you know, the aerodynamics for research, really. That's what I'm getting at here. Now, chassis research has completed, which means we could, of course, use the chassis slot to do the rear wing. Now that I think about it, and I'm afraid. But we are going to have to focus side pods here. It's just how things are. We need to regain some of this loss, and this loss is the massive one. So we'll get one side pod project done here, potentially. I don't think we'll get two done. We might get, you know, a shoddy one done. But it should still be okay here. Let's continue. We'll just have to see how our car stacks up next year, and then we can make a, you know, a consideration of whether I made a big mistake or not. Now, because of the crash here, we're also in a pickle, because we're going to have to spend money on manufacturing pieces that we don't really have the money to manufacture. Front wings, as you can see, completely busted. Suspensions are busted. And, again, the money here towards the cost cap is a concern. So, we're going to gamble here on just having three spare wings, if you will. And what was the last thing? A rear wing. We have 3. We're going to have to get one more. How we're looking now in terms of cost cap, 9.6, and we're probably going to have to spend 4 or 5 million on new parts towards the end of the season as well. So it's not the best scenario, really, but it is what it is, and we'll just try to have to make the best out of it. Let us continue on to Brazil. We'll have some manufacturing projects done. But other than that, I don't think we'll have too much going on here. October financial report, monthly car development. We're moving up on the cooling without doing anything, which is concerning. Revving has been manufactured. Gearbox, ERS, gearbox. Yeah, I know. It's because we crashed. We'll fix it once we get to the racing location. Front wing. Memorabilia room in poor condition. Everything is just striking us. But yeah, that both our drivers out crash is the risk you run by having them, you know, overtake each other. And, well, I am a bit upset, but it's just how the game happens. It's the cost of doing what we did. Let's get on, though, to the Sao Paulo Grand Prix, and hopefully we'll do better here. Sao Paulo Grand Prix just finished, and it was a mixed one. 2-1, decent gain here. Piastri came third, but judging by timesheet, he should actually have been second. But basically, we took Verstappen on the final lap, and then got re-overtaken on the straight. I went 16x, and that might have bugged the game a bit. I don't know if this is accurate, if Verstappen actually came first or not, but I would assume so. If it's a bug, it's a bug. It's not game-breaking for us right now, but it's still a bit annoying. Red Bull's second place with Verstappen, as said. Good for them. Mercedes with a 4th, which is good for them. Albon scoring points in 6th place for Alpha is actually quite impressive. Leclerc down in 7th. Disappointing for Ferrari altogether. Magnussen kind of disappointing with an 8th place, but I think Alpha will be happy with it. And Hadjar scoring points for Aston Martin is quite surprising. Gasly down in 10th is, again, a bit disappointing for Alpine, but still in the points. And then we have Norris down into 15th here, which is disappointing for Red Bull. Sainz had a crash, which put him out of commission, really. Ended up at the back of the grid. Never made it back up again. And that is basically how the race went. Piastri also had a crash and destroyed his front wing, same manner as Sainz though, so that is also why he is back here, really. In terms of driver championship, one change in the top 10. Russell up to 5th, Leclerc down to 6th. In the constructors, one change there as well. AlphaTauri up to 8th, Aston Martin dropped down to 9th. But other than that, it seems like for the most part here, the Red Bull-Mercedes fight will be the only real big one, if you will, towards the end of the season here. We have one race to go, and we have wrapped up, well, basically everything. We wrapped it up a while ago, really. In terms of driver development, we did very well. For the most part of the race, Alpha made it to the front. Our drivers were doing the, you know, overtaking each other for XP thing, and they had very decent gains here. In terms of money, the same 5.2 million that we usually get because we either take one drive in top 2 or fastest lap. And we have manufactured a suspension. So that should be good. In terms of news, nothing in particular. And we now have CLP refurbishment completed. And then we have the final car part test center in full condition. Let's get that. But as I said, now we have the final race in 2 days, which should be okay. Chassis manufactured means that we have reserve parts, but we don't really need them unless we have, you know, a lot of accidents in practice. In terms of cost cap, we still have 7 million to play with. So I believe all the emergency purchases we've done this year is extra components. We can be happy with that. And in terms of the finances here, our monthly balance has changed a little bit because we are now spending a lot more on our drivers. And well, this is gonna probably get a bit worse too once we sign per share onto a proper deal. He's probably gonna get the same, so you can expect this number to double, basically 3.3 million, because we have to cut away Ruin's current cut, if you will. So we'll still make profits, but they just won't be as big, and the most of the money that we make during the season is going to come from races. Fastest lap should be doable, and with that, let's head over to the last Grand Prix of the season. We have just finished the last Grand Prix, and as you can see, Ruin ends his tenure here with victory here, which is good. Double points also means that potential changes to the order. We'll have to see about that. Leclerc, second, Sainz fourth for Ferrari is a good result for them. Verstappen, third, and Norris 8 is a decent result for Red Bull. Probably would have liked to have a better one. Piastri ended up in 5th because crashing, spinning, and running wide has consequences, basically. Alfa Romeo with 7th and 9th. I think they will be happy. Ricciardo in 6th for Alpine. Again, I think they will be happy with that. And the last point scoring position goes to Russell and Mercedes. Mercedes had a bad one. And as you can see, we had 5 cars crash out. Both Hasses, 1 Alpha, 1 Mercedes, and Gasly in Alpine. So pretty rough, all things considered. In terms of points, we have a couple of changes in the top 10. Verstappen goes up to 3rd. Sainz down to 4th. We have Leclerc moving up to 5th. Russell down to 6th. And outside the top 10, Ricciardo moves up to 11th. Bottas and Perez move down a spot each. Schumacher overtakes Stroll for 16th. And other than that, no real changes. Hadjar here with just a single point scoring position this season. Constructors, no changes, really. Even with double points there at the end. Red Bull secured the position. Mercedes didn't, capitalize on the double points there at the end. One driver out, the other one 10th. And generally, the season kind of went like expected. I was hoping Alpha and Alpine maybe have a bit more impact, challenging the, 2nd to 4th. But it didn't happen, sadly. Development-wise, we didn't have too much of a progress, but still good. Don't get me wrong. And yeah, it was a good season, all things considered, that we did last year first. We have a little bit extra payouts here due to, the finish position streak. Couldn't do anything about it, though. Well, couldn't do anything more because we're done with the season. So it's got stuck at 2. But I'm fairly happy with how it went, honestly. In terms of consistency stat here, accuracy for Piastri and for Ruin, a point in braking. We might get the reactions level up before he leaves, but we'll have to see. It's, again, 2 weeks left of his contract. Now, let's have a look at what the board says here at the end of the season. Board review, they have high confidence. I would hope so. He actually gives us a thank you for the Drivers' Championship. We can no longer design car parts or manufacture them. Vaka gives us a congratulations. Piastri wins the Drivers' Championship. They're over the moon. And in general, it went pretty well here. We had almost twice as the points of 2nd place, even doing a last to first challenge. And both our drivers won 2 in the championship. It's basically all we could have hoped for. Ferrari 2nd, Red Bull 3rd, Mercedes 4th, 5th, 6th goes to Alpes and Alfa Romeo. And Aston Martin has actually overtaken Haas here. So Haas has had a fall from grace, which is kind of disappointing, really, because they had potential. But then Magnussen went to Alfa Romeo. I guess it's the takeaway from that. Now, our board performance review, I assume would be good here. Drivers champion for Piastri. Constructors champion for our team. And they're happy with basically us reaching our targets first in everything. And we have maintained our maximum team rating. We're actually above it, 1087. So we have improved slightly from last year. And once again, the board celebrates with 1.5 million handing over to us. Now, I probably won't be using any of these scoutings. I started them before the season end, so it's just how things are. In terms of our pit crew performance here, we are losing a little bit from front and rear jacks, as you can see, but we are getting pretty much up there. I kind of forgot to change it to car release, so we're going to do that right away. But I feel like pit crew has done a decent job this season, and we'll try and boost car release over the course of the next one. See if we can get it up there. Now, we will try and get some more research done for the end. We have a little bit more money to play with. Not a lot, mind you, but a little bit. And front wing will not happen. So we'll try and get a chassis in, because it's the one that takes the longer of the two, I believe. Suspension should just be 25, chassis should be 30. So yeah, we're going to get a chassis in here, and hopefully also a suspension by the end of this year. Put in... Let's be honest here, we can't actually do anything else in terms of our engineers. So if you can't get another project in, the best thing to do is to make the project take as long as possible. Because even though you'll get less, let me put it this way. If you run 2 projects, it's better to not waste time. Even if I get less daily, by making the project take longer, I'm going to get more because I can't start another project, if that makes sense. So if you can't start another project before the end of the year, try and finish on, you know, December 30 or 31st. I can't remember how many days it's in December, but as late as possible if you, again, can't get another project started afterwards, because it'll give you more expertise overall. Turboshare has some development points for 1 in control, and then we can start working on pace again. Bring him up to 85. Very good. And our tour center is in poor condition. We will refurbish. And Maria Silva has told us about the driver changes. Piastri is secured. Position will be vacant because again we're letting do and go. I kind of don't want to, but at the same time I can't just say no now. And apparently I've lost something down here. There we are. The regulation changes. So again, it's going to be very few points up to play with as well. And that's going to make that season a bit more interesting, potentially. Sidepods research completed. I don't think we'll be able to start another one for shares performance. But we will try here. In terms of sidepods, do this. How far are we off? 9 days. Yeah, I don't think that's doable, even if you put everything to the middle. Doable if we do this. So it'll still be a boost to the sidepods, which harm the most. But before I do that, I want to have a quick look and see, will we be able to do a suspension? Because I think just doing a suspension then is probably more beneficial than not being able to do the other one. So let's check the projects here. We will not be able to do a suspension. So let's just do a suspension, try and get everything into the maximums, and then we'll have to just massively focus on the sidepods next season. We'll have to see just where we end up in terms of gains and losses, if you will. So here you can see we can make a suspension with everything. So I'm gonna gamble on that being good or better than doing the sidepods, but we'll be intense designing a lot of sidepods next season is basically what I'm understanding here. Tour center has been refurbished. Also, let's have a quick look at facilities here. And in the wind tunnel, it will need refurbishment soon. But as you can see, I'm not allowed to actually pre-refurbish it. So I wanted to actually check out if I could. And we have 2 more coming up here very soon. Facility refurbishments completed. And our car park test center too. Very good. We have unused scouts, but I can live with just having them sitting on their behinds, if you will. And I have one more thing that I want to do. Do we have any region drivers, or will they show up next season. By the looks of this, it will be next season. And that should be good, really. We should be okay with that. I feel like this is just like tick tock, tick tock. We're having research completed. Idle engineers. Well, I don't have anything. I can't do anything about that because those idle engineers aren't allowed to work on anything, you know? Go spend the last couple of days before the New Year's with your family, I guess. Underflow research completed too, so we'll have to see where we will be standing next year in terms of, you know, gains and losses. Chassis completed and suspension completed. Very good. Let's also get the helipad refurbished, although honestly I should probably just wait until, you know, the first race next season to do this, but I will probably forget. So let's just get it done with. We have the money, not a big concern, and we have an urgent car to wait and see, and we need to make a contract offer or we won't be able to continue the season. Why am I not allowed to do that? Oh, we have regens. Interesting. And Keith Capitr, Lars Toft, sounds like a Scandinavian. Alessandra Grasso, Winder, Keith. Yeah, there. Honestly, out of these, we'd probably take Keith, but I thought it said that I did wanted to try and get a female driver, so I'm thinking that we get this one, highest overall, but still just 2 points, but still highest overall. And I'm actually not allowed to propose a contract. Can't propose a contract here either, so I'm probably gonna have to get a 19-year-old then. Nope, not allowed. That is a bit concerning. Why have regions if I can't propose them contracts? Okay, can I filter? There needs to be a filter here that is can actually propose contract to, because we need that one. Okay, and they need to start regenerating people at 16 if they want to do things like this, because I can't actually sign anyone here. That's probably why they got Hajar. I can sign Stanek. Yeah, let's have a look at who is our free agents here and just grab someone up based on that, because this is kind of punishing to me. Verstappen is a free agent. That could be fun. Verstappen versus Piastri. Sainz and Leclerc are both free agents. Bottas is a free agent. Yado, Guan Yu Shou. Ewan, of course. Giovinazzi, Stroll. Sargent. Behrman, are you... He's actually available. Honestly, what I'm thinking is probably we put him in the second car, because currently I'm not really allowed to sign anyone. Again, cannot propose contract. And I don't know if this is just me being unlucky and not getting any, you know, drivers that have done that. But as you can see, even 20 years olds, 21-year-olds, I'm not allowed to sign them. So I guess the rating is actually both their, you know, benefit, but also their doom. Can't sign. Nyman can't. So yeah, even at, let's see, at 21, you can get Rice if you wanted to. But in that case, I think we're just gonna promote Pusher, pick up Behrman, and be happy with that. But here's the thing, if I promote Pusher right now, I'm gonna lose a Euro contract. So it's a bit of a weird one. I'm thinking that I need to hire a replacement before the next race weekend, but here's the thing. You're forcing me to do it right now. I want to wait for the year to turn, so what I'm thinking is, we pick one at random. Someone that will get a... Let's see, do we have an old one? Surely? Nope. Nope. Looking at this guy. I'm gonna give him in car 2 a 1-season contract. I'm curious. This should... No, it shouldn't take a year off since the season is done, technically. Let's go ahead and promote... Let's see, Pusher has 1 year left. Let's try and promote Pusher and just see if his... if he loses a year. If he does, it's not a big deal. I'm not going to be playing too long now I think about it, so... Considering how much we gave Piastri, let's try and give him 15 million. Again, I'm sorry there's so much back and forth here. I had an idea to... you know, I had a fun idea, but the game just up and one said no. What we could do is actually pick up Duan again and try and put him in a reserve position, but I would be really happy if another team picks him up instead, so I'm not going to do that. Let's try 50 million. We're going to give him 2 million, as we did Piastri, and we're going to see here if he agrees to that. So yeah, sorry for so much cluster right now doing trying to get this this negotiation done, but it's a bit disappointing, really. I understand why that rule is there, but if none of the drivers that are young come up to the system, it's going to have F2, F3 experience according to the game, then there's no point having regions, really. Then you need to have your own driver academy, so I can say, oh, we found this guy at 15, 16, 17, and we put him through, well, the feeder series in F2, F3. Let's try and see how Pusher feels about this. He's actually very happy. I might have paid him a bit too much then, but we'll give him it. We'll give him it. It's fine. And there we go. Pusher now is one of our drivers. And again, we just need to upgrade this pace stat. He has a lot of smoothness, which could potentially open us up to, you know, different strategies, but still a good one. We still need to get a reserve driver. I'm thinking again, we'll just go Behrman, because I couldn't find anyone else that, you know, could fill the slot really, and Behrman is a talent that I'd like to experiment with. So we're going to put 5 seasons, we're going to get reserve. We're going to pay him, I guess, 500,000 a year. We're going to be cheap. And let's see, how do you feel about this contract? Very happy, so let's hire him. Go, Behrman has been hired as a reserve, and of course, again, it's annoying. It could also just be because the year hasn't picked over that they don't count. So I'll have a look at the next season, and if we can pick up someone else, we might. But we'll give this a go for next season regulations. But as you can see, they have the full 5 years according to this, so I guess the season technically ends in November. And well, that would be good if it did. So I have learned my lesson there. But these games are usually kind of wonky with that, so it's hard to just guess your way forwards. Now, thank you for following this series so far. It's been a lot of fun. I have enjoyed playing this a lot. As I said, we will most likely be doing a 6th season here, just purely due to the harsh regulation changes. And it's going to be interesting to see how that goes. We did very good now on our, well, last to first full season challenge. Not that different from a regular season, all things considered. But yeah, I enjoyed it a lot, and I hope you've enjoyed the series as well. And hopefully, we will get the update later today. Currently, it's 8 in the morning. And hopefully, I can get everything edited and uploaded in time for the next 1.7, really. Currently, I believe Aston Martin is winning out, but the second I find the update, or see the update, I will be starting a game. So we'll have to see. McLaren, Aston Martin, there's 1 percentage point between them. If you haven't voted yet and want to, go ahead and do so. It's still on my page, and voting will be open until, you know, the season starts, or I start my game in 1.7 and realize, you know, the new update is out. So keep that in mind. Again, thank you very much for following the series. I appreciate it a lot. I hope you've enjoyed, and I do hope to see you around next time. Bye bye.